Hello everyone! Holiday Wither here, and welcome back to the game that will never leave my brain, and Oogie 2 haunts me to this day. That's right, we're playing Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, The Pumpkin King, where we will attempt to speedrun the game, but I think I'm a bit rusty, so who knows how this is all going to turn out. So for all I know, there could be a lot of things that are going to happen, but as always, we usually do a few warm-up rounds, so we will have to wait and see how things turn out, won't we? So with that, options I forget are just English. I'm always curious about what hides in the options menu. Really nothing. So, without further ado, let's hop into the game, where we will click New Game, and hopefully I will remember to start the timer, because I know on one of my test runs I actually didn't start the timer, which was actually quite sad. So, attempt, start, whatever this is, 15? Probably gonna be 16. And 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, managed to get that skip. That's a nice, like, few second skip. So there have been a few special skips that have been discovered in the meantime. Ladder hitboxes are a bit wonky, as you can see. We can jump through them. So that's something interesting that is possible now. It's not every ladder, though. Some ladders are more stubborn than others. It ultimately depends on which ladder you're trying to aim for. But for the most part, most ladders are quite generous, I will say. You just have to be careful. Because as of now, there really is no good way to know which ladders are the safe ones, which ones are the bad ones. So we just have to deal with it. I'm very sad that I didn't manage to hit that moth. The moth managed to, avoid my frog gun by moving before I could hit it. That one you sort of can't jump off of because you activate the cutscene as soon as you touch it. So let's fight a spider, shall we? It's spider time. Let's see how our little spider friend wants to cooperate today. Four hits, that is what we want to see on the first phase, then we want to hopefully hit it 2 times. We could probably hit it 3 times if I didn't get cobwebbed. There we go. I think that was a good spider. Probably not going to be any faster, but I still say it was good. Good spider fight indeed. Ooh, that was a gold split. Good to know. Of course, that means nothing currently. I'm upset that I got hit there, considering I swear I jumped. Oh, that is... Well, there went those 2 seconds. Jack deciding not to jump when he wants to jump. Sometimes that cutscene likes to lag, so it's say guess when you will actually skip that cutscene. Which is strange to say. Oh, of course. I missed that one. Jack, please. Let's not waste our time. That would be great. Thank you very much. Thankfully, he likes to grab platforms very quickly today. We are going to attempt... We are not going to do any ledge warping, which is some of the new tech we found last stream. At least not yet, anyways. I really should not be risking the ladder jumps. Especially when I don't know them. 0! We have found our good friendly dog. And now into our healing section. I just learned today, actually, while testing, that you can skip 0 moving into each movement section, which does save a few seconds as well, which is good to know. You'll get our first Shrunken Skull out of 5. Well, actually, our second one. We already got our first skull. I'm just so used to glossing over that one. Out of the chimney we go. And we managed to avoid the particles, which is always a plus. I'm not gonna risk them. If we have a lot of good time we're making, then maybe I'll risk some of the ladder jumps. But for now... I've never seen that cannonball activate that early. We'll just wiggle on down. Avoid those enemies, and head on to the next area, Dr. Finkelstein's lab. For some reason, the audio on those turrets sounds a bit different on my headset today. I don't know why. I took my time there because usually I end up failing those jumps. Okay, let's stop trying to do cool guy jumps now. Because it's costing me time and HP. We need all the HP we can get. Especially running through this section. Okay, Jack. Let's hope my controller isn't going to have a fit today. It hasn't been having a fit, but you never know when your controller is going to be like, I don't want to activate. We have the Batarang, or the Bat Boomerang, however you want to call it. do a little finagle. I'm like hearing a more metallic ting today, and I don't know why. It's very peculiar. As we know, this ladder just doesn't exist. You can actually jump out of that ladder. You don't have to even climb it. But the hitbox is small, so I'm gonna forego the HP. And we're gonna fight Mr. Snake. Only 2 hits. That's actually not good. Oh, Snake wants to be a feisty one today, I see. Got 3 hits there. And 1 more hit and it should be done. There we go. We definitely lost some time with not hitting Snake early, which is a problem. And me trying to do those fancy ladder jumps definitely didn't help. A bit sloppy, but not the worst. Could have been a lot worse. I have to at least have gotten one of those because of what our health was on if we wanted to secure victory. Finagle our way down there. Sometimes I do get stuck in that bug and it's slightly annoying. Thankfully, that slug drops HP, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, ironically, I can never get the cool guy jumps in this area anymore. Which is a bit peculiar, considering I used to, like, never try to get them, but now I could always get them when I couldn't try, but when I want to try, I can never get them. It's a bit strange. We're not going to heal because there is another healing station we're going to use inside the beginning of Pumpkin Patch. Jack, please, and that bug didn't spawn that time. Very interesting. Sometimes there's a bug that spawns that always has a different height depending on when and where you come at it, which is very peculiar. We will heal here because we need to. And then we just skip these ladders because these ladders are worthless. Probably could skip that one. There we go, so we'll hop on our merry way. Please don't hit me. Thank you. That one is always a bit finicky. Don't hit me. That bug is also a bit finicky. A lot of finicky things. There we go. We just damage boost there because it's worth it. We avoid the slippy, slidey slugs. And we just take this damage because it doesn't exist. Jack, Jack, I've never seen you grab that ledge before. Could you please not? Thank you, my skeleton friend. And then we just tank all this damage because we will get an HP up. So it doesn't matter. We'll then switch to our bombs. Now, for posterity's sakes. And get our HP. Oh, wow, I didn't know you could actually turn the wheel during that. I'm learning all kinds of new things today. Up we go. Oh, I've never, like, missed that jump. I've also never seen the game lag here. That is the first I've seen the game stutter in this section. Quite peculiar. I sort of need that bomb, but we will forego it for speed. I need that bomb, but I will forego it for speed. There we go. Ugh, I'm being a little sloppy, but it's fine. There we go. No worries whatsoever. Jack is getting his ankles abused left, right, and center today. There's a box. We thankfully have one bomb. If we didn't have a bomb, we would actually be very, very screwed. You'll then skip that. And we will skip that because we know that is skippable now. Now, you see this 0 section? Remember it well. You will see it again many, many times. Now we're in, well, one of my general favorite areas, which is Graveyard. But Graveyard 2 is my most favorite spot. We will see that in but a little bit. Now, the lack of pumpkin bombs we have is quite scary, and is something we need to keep our attention on. Because if we don't, we could be in a very, very not good place. Just want to zap that, because where we're going, we actually refuse to use the ghost in this section. Because the ghosts are not helpful. They are helpful in every other area but this one. Be careful not to get bonked by that, because that can be very bad if you get bonked there. It actually is quite tricky to hit the bell with the frog gun there, but I've seemed to have no problems with that one, which is good to know. And we'll just snake our way around. Snake our way through the graveyard. That hand almost gave us a boost, which would have been very helpful to have. And now we meet Stretchy Ghost, one of our favorite friends in the whole game. He allows us to gain the power of stretchability, and allows us to get to very high places. The reason I do that little wiggle in the air is so that when the ghost does activate, we are in its hitbox. Allows us to get a bigger, wider range, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We now fall through the level, and we go to fight the grasshopper, which should not be much of a trouble. Though we do need to get some pumpkin bombs. We are quite lacking on pumpkin bombs, and that is one thing that is very concerning. Ooh. We actually wanted it to hit us. Uh-huh. We are abusing hitboxes, ladies and gents. There we go. That was a clean grasshopper fight, I will say. Very clean. Another gold split. Was never expecting to see gold splits again. I will waste a few seconds just to get some HP. And I will kill these gremlins for some pumpkins. Because I would have had to have gotten them either way, so it's not like I'm wasting my time. We remember that Zero is a cutscene activator. Zero, thankfully, did not decide to get stuck, because sometimes Zero likes to take his time to get to Jack for that cutscene, and it is quite annoying sometimes when he decides to take his good old time. Thankfully, everything in this area drops pumpkins, so it is not a worry. 1. Oh, I managed to miss one. That's actually not good. Sometimes those pumpkin vats like to cooperate, sometimes they do not. It ultimately depends on how the vat is feeling. Though I did remember to hit that this time. It's always Pumpkin Patch 2. There are certain Stretchy Ghosts that I always forget to activate. Sadly, there is really no way to make that section any faster when climbing. Or, I guess, climbing across the ceiling, I guess, is the appropriate terminology. It's just, it can be finicky. One. You do not want to fall in the acid down here, though. Because that will never be a good thing. Activate that. Make sure we do not jump into the ghost early, because it can actually have a negative impact, because you can bonk. Oh no, Jack, please. Yes, I'm doing that the more dangerous way, but I think it's more fun. Cool guy jumps. I failed the cool guy jumps right off the bat. Quite sad. No cool guy jumps for me. Yeah, as you can see, that ghost loves to hover in an area that is not where we want to be. So sometimes the ghosts have my brain is not functioning. Ow. I've been poked. It's better to do those ladder jumps when you're in a wall, because you're in a wall and there's really... The ladder can't get you out to the side, which makes that jump easier. Nope. Oh, thank goodness it hit. This vat is always annoying, just timing-wise. Thankfully, that vat did not give me much trouble, when it often does. We now have the Melting Man's Eye, and we're moving on to Graveyard 2. which is one of my favorite areas in the whole game. Ironically, it is an ice area, but the ice physics in this game are not horrible, I should say. The ice physics are quite decent. Ignore that goop puddle, that is just backtracking to early parts of Halloween Town Square, which we do not need to go to. We are now a slug. Jack was quite attached to that ladder, it seemed. I've never seen him extend his body like that before. Hello, Mayor? Yes, I will help. We will avoid that and avoid the undead cows, who are quite frequent in this area. So you will be seeing the cows. That is a bell that is for fools. This bell, on the other hand, was a necessary bell. We will then avoid that cow so we don't get bonked off. We got some fancy brains. They will be helpful in the future. Those ghosts are the most finicky ones in the whole game because they are not synced with each other, which is why you saw me wait just a little bit. Now we'll just grab a little bit of HP because we are hurting a little bit. Not a lot, but just a slight amount of pain. We will jump over the fire moths in attempts to land in the puddle, which I did not do. I will save my bombs, though. We will not use them on this section. We got some ribs. Some nice green gunky ribs. Delicious. I always forget that that grave is there. Now, the reason I froze is because there is a Stretchy Ghost we're supposed to acquire. And oftentimes, when doing runs for this game, every runner always runs off the platform. And it is not good. I did remember. I forgot that the area was there. I often forget that there's a bombable wall there, but thankfully I seem to remember. So saving bombs there was very good, because if you don't have bombs there, you're gonna have to backtrack quite a bit. And you don't want to backtrack in a speed run. Because backtracking in a speed run is no good. I have never seen that enemy give me so much trouble. Her health is a bit low, but ultimately there is nothing to worry about, because I know where the next health station is, and that's in a 0 section. So, we don't have anything to worry about. Because there ultimately is no enemy that can hit us. Leading up to the next section. The only thing that can hit us is that enemy, but thankfully we are a bit faster than it. I'll then do another fancy gravestone jump to just skip a ledge. And now we're going to everyone's favorite section. Pumpkin Patch 2. With the gnats. Everyone loves the gnats. You ask anyone who runs this game and they will tell you their favorite part of this game is Pumpkin Patch 2 because of the gnats. The gnats make the game so good. That is the truth. And as you can see, we're pretty much back to full health. So, we are A-O-A. For some reason, every time I do the starting area, I always forget where to go, even though my brain knows where to go, but I'm like always questioning, is this where I'm supposed to go? I don't think it's where I'm supposed to go. But indeed it is where you're supposed to go. We'll grab those bombs, because bombs in Pumpkin Patch 2 are very important, considering we are in Pumpkin Patch 2. It only makes sense. We want to avoid that mushroom at all costs, because that is a bad mushroom. We do not want to go to the left, even though that's where it seems like you're supposed to go. And we will just completely avoid that room because we hate moths. We hate gnats, but don't say that to their face. They won't like that. And yes, these gnats are, contrary to popular belief, RNG based. Come on, Jack. So there is no way to get a pattern for them. You just have to hope and pray that you get good RNG. Which is a little, as one would say, not good, but that is this area. This is the most hated room in the whole game. And we just need to be very, very careful in this room. Careful is the aim, and careful is our game. Oh, ultimately in that room, I ultimately do have my finger, like, attached to... I almost have to tape down the down button, because sometimes my hand accidentally presses up ever so slightly, and if you get out of that slug thing, it is not good. Not good whatsoever. It's painful if you end up getting out of slug form. But thankfully we are done with the most stressful room in the whole game. Contrary to popular beliefs, the Moth hitbox is actually generous sometime. Not most of the time, not all the time, but a little bit of the time. Now, you remember this whole area? Well, good news. You can play it all over again on a timer. I hope you're ready. Oh, those little moths are gonna be very... They can be, quite unforgiving, those little moths. Please deactivate, 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 deactivate. Gonna take the risk. The risk paid out. Thankfully, when we go back through this area, we only have to do it... Normally, we don't have to be in a slug form, or leech form, I guess, is the accurate terminology. That was risky. Because that's a long run. But it's often a risk we have to take in the speedrun. As much as we do not want to. Come on, finagle yourself down. Oh, I almost ran out. That was scary. Now we're on to the boss. The Pillbug. Let's see how kind Pillbug wants to be today. Thank you, Bomb, for being in a generous location. Like, when that happens, that's just great RNG. It is not a set location of where those pumpkin bomb spots spawn. And yes, this is one of, if not the laggiest battle in the whole game. There we go. Pillbug has been defeated. But of course, the timer is not done. We are not completely saved yet. But now we are. So the item that we have acquired is the pumpkin pepper, which we call a ghost pepper, just because that's what the icon looks like. It is used to turn into an invincible entity that can fly through the air. And it is quite useful for certain fights. But you will barely see us use it for any fights except one, that being the third to last, the caterpillar boss. As that is when it is the most useful time to use it. And you'd think you'd use it right there, but no, that leads to a collectible. So you'd often think you'd use the ability you acquire right off the bat, but you do not. Which is a bit strange. Now, if I remember correctly, we are heading into Graveyard 3. And this is the last time we are going to see this Zero section, so hope you enjoy it while it lasts. Yes, we're going to Graveyard 3. And then we will be going to Dr. Finkelstein's Lab Part 2. And then Jack's House 2. And then after Jack's House 2, that's Endgame. We go to Oogie's Lair to take down the menace once and for all. So I will switch to our Ghost Pepper. Believe it or not, it's actually called a potion, this item. But you wouldn't think that, considering what the pickup is and also what the icon looks like. Come on, Jack. Gotta get your jumps in. I know you're not Jumpman Mario, but in some stretch of the imagination you are just the same with how much you jump. In fact, I would say that Jack does more jumping than Mario, depending on what game you're referring to. These are called Devil's Tail, I think is what we're calling them. I don't know what we're calling them. We're calling them something, and I forget what we're calling them. Now, you're actually supposed to be using the Ghost Pepper here to avoid taking damage, but we just damage boost because damage boosting is the most efficient routing, one could say. We then activate that ghost. We come down here, so we do not activate the ghost a little bit early. Come on. point of this area is to find the real lock, shock, and barrels that are hidden throughout the area. And you're supposed to use your frog gun to expose them. But we really don't worry about that. If you're wondering what's down that tunnel, that is a collectible, which is very annoying to get if you don't get it the first time. We want to take out that enemy. You think it's slow, but trust me, it's the fastest to take out that enemy. Now, Graveyard 2, believe it or not, is a very scary area because it is very, very deadly, and you will see why. I don't want to show why, but you will see why when we get to a certain enemy, and that is here, the Gargoyle. The Gargoyle does 1 full bar of damage to Jack. So it is quite deadly. I'm just going to wait. I could rush, but you want to rush, and then you get stuck on the Gargoyle, and then you end up losing a lot of HP, and you will be dead before you know it. But thankfully, that area was one of the deadliest areas in all of Pumpkin Patch. Thankfully, we have managed to avoid that area without much issue. And we are now in probably the last bad spot of Pumpkin Patch 2, because once we get past... Graveyard 3... And once we are out of Graveyard 3, this room in Graveyard 3, we are home, free, and safe. How do Lock, Shock, and Barrel manage to get out? That is a great question. Apparently they have secret trap doors that we do not know about. I actually wouldn't put it past them. Those little tricksters. Our HP's fine. The easiest room in the whole game. Hey, it's from that movie. You then do not want to walk forward, even though you would think you'd want to walk forward, because that activates a text box. An unskippable one at that. We then want to talk to the mayor, as he will give us some peppers. And you cannot walk when you're in this form. That's why you see me standing still. Is because ultimately there is nothing you can do truly when you're in that form. You can't even enter doors. But into Dr. Finkelstein's lab, which is deadly in some forms, depending on what room you are in. I am not going to heal. That is probably the worst thing to do. Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, the lightning bolts have a metallic cling to them. I've just noticed that. I don't know if they've been doing that before, but for now, my headset is really picking that up. We now must go and save Igor, as Igor has gotten himself into a very sticky situation. And we must go and rescue him. We also have an upgraded Frog's Gun. For those who are interested, we also do not want to touch the saw blades. The saw blades are very, very dangerous. And they are very, very deadly, especially with the amount of HP we have. That is why I'm going to be a little bit cautious. I knew that was an HP up, so I did it so we could get a little bit of HP in our disposal. Jack, please, this is not time we can waste. We have a task. Thank you for wiggling your way down, though. That definitely saves time. Now, that's a giant ball of plasma, but we call that the sun in Speedrun. So, we refer to those as giant suns. The deadly suns. You do not want to touch the suns, because the sun is a deadly laser. Didn't you know? Now, as long as we're careful and don't get saw-bladed, this next area, should not be much trouble. Please go away. The reason I'm saying that is because there is a shrunken skull. Right here. Which allows us not to worry about our HP, and now my favorite boss. There we go. Easiest boss in the whole game. Igor has been saved and managed to find his way out. We just wait because we'll get stuck by the saw if we went any earlier. Wait till we're out of the goop, and away we go. Now to beat the sunrooms. Which sometimes are a bit annoying, but now that I know I can make that jump and grab that ledge, it's actually not as frustrating as it was before. And that sun manages to not load in sometimes until later, which is always a plus. Now, a nice thing is, if you take if you take damage from these flying moths, as I call them, it doesn't allow you to take damage from the saw blades, which means you can run through them. Which is why sometimes you see me running through the saw blades and not being worried about them. That is why. And you know, I think that's the easiest time I've had getting out of Dr. Finkelstein's lab, too. Usually, the areas cause me much more pain and suffering, but that is not, which is always good. Yep. I knew it was a risk to do that, but I think it's fine. Meant to grab that ledge. We will just be on our merry way. Don't really need to heal because we are in a position of actually decent health, so it's fine. Now, the lore of the game is that Dr. Finkelstein had to unlock our house for us. Don't ask why. But he does. Also, the vampire has lost their taste for blood. Not good at all. So, being the good Samaritan we are going to go and help them. Regain their taste for blood, as all vampires should have. Oh, Jack. I don't know why Jack was being a little funky. Now that is a special type of fog that only appears in Jack's house too. It is called the backwards fog, or the crazy fog, whatever the game calls it. I call it the backwards fog because it makes your controls go backwards. Which is why I hate this area. Because I am not good at learning backward control schemes. So that is why you often see me having a fit when it comes to this area. There we go, we managed to get that. That is often very infuriating when you miss that area, because you have to climb all the way back up. I just take this damage because it's quicker. It also allows the fog to B is now jump. Up is down, up is down. Okay, remember, up is down. Okay, sometimes that area gives me a lot of trouble, and sometimes I often climb up that ladder before the fog evaporates. So that is why you saw me fall there. But I will definitely heal here. Now we're gonna fight my least favorite boss, Mothra. It's not called Mothra, I just call it Mothra. Because it is a giant moth. Come on. There we go. I did not know I could turn my wheel, though, in that cutscene either. So that is actually good to know, that you can change what weapon you're using in certain cutscenes. Oh boy. The moth gave me no trouble, which often it does. But thankfully it was kind. Now, let's go check back in on our vampiric friend. And we will see that I think he's in much better state of mind. And indeed, he is. They are, I should say. We do need to activate our bombs, though. In all honesty, I do keep forgetting we do this zero section twice. The only zero section you technically only do once is the final one. If you don't decide to go back and get anything else before fighting the final boss, that is. Out of the chimney we go. And to the end of the game we go as well. We do not need to heal because we are in pretty much tip-top shape. I say as I immediately take damage. Yeah, I've never seen that cannonball activate in the air like that. Or do that specific timing. I must be loading it on the... when I'm on the lower quadrant of that screen. That's the only thing that makes sense. Or, what do I know? I'm just talking to talk. We're now into Oogie's Lair. The last part of the game. But before we fight Mr. Oogie Boogie, we must go and tackle this clown's face because he has lost it, and we must go find it. A face fetch quest, you could say. Well, it is a fetch quest, but we're fetching a face. The words, they do not come easily today. That is no worry, as long as my attention is on the game. That is what is important. Now you hear this music? I hope you enjoy it, because you're gonna hear it pretty much for the rest of the game. And this area is very deadly, trying to go get the face. This is probably the last deadliest area. Not to say that the other areas in Oogie's Lair aren't deadly, but this is the most deadly out of all three of them. Out of the sections we're going to visit. I have fallen off that platform before, and it was quite sad. And usually I end up running off that ledge, which is not good. But I've managed to succeed in not doing that this time, which is always a blessing. Ooh, that was risky. I could have fallen there. Jack might not have stuck the landing, but thankfully he did. And for that, I say thank you, Jack, for your cooperation of sticking to walls for me. we now must go through an area that has a lot of bees. I don't know what the screen just did, but the screen stuttered. We allow that bee to leave, so it does not hit us. Jump over that hive. We're gonna wait a second. And go into pepper mode. We will acquire another pepper, but that will be on the way back. As of now, we must go down a deadly, deadly tunnel. Because if you get hit consecutively by all these enemies, it's not fun. That's why we're going to do a bit of HP grinding. Just so we're at 4, and then we're going to fetch a face. Now you might be thinking, we have to do a lot of movement. Well, believe it or not, it is actually smarter to just stand here and point up. I'm taking a lot of damage, though, which is very concerning. Because if you leave this area, the HP of that red bug resets. So we do not want that. So we're now going to do a bit more HP farming, because trust me, we're going to need it. That sword somehow managed to snag me. I do not mean to keep hitting that other bug. But yet I do. But thankfully I know where to get more peppers in Oogie's lair. So it is not a worry that we are missing that pepper. Damage that was done on purpose. Be careful of those swords. Yeah, as you can see, HP goes very quickly in this area. That's why we're always very careful. Jack, please, my good sir, you're being a little bit jumpy. A little bit too jumpy for your own good. That crate is a fake crate. We do not want to open that crate unless you want to take damage. Damage. Yeah, I knew you'd spit because you decided to spit recently. Yes, these trees do spit weapons or spit objects to hurt you. Though we are safe as long as we... As long as we're careful and don't take dumb damage. Jump over that enemy, which has a very big hitbox. Then we're safe. We will heal. We've returned the face, and now we got big pumpkin bombs. Pumpkin bombs that pack quite a punch. Of course, we're not supposed to hit that, even though we're supposed to go up. It automatically takes us down. Which saves us a few pumpkins. Jack wasn't even surprised this time, he was just mildly amused. We wasted one too many pumpkins there. I forgot about that enemy. But yeah, thankfully in this area, enemies don't really do a lot of damage. But there's a lot of them, which sort of adds up over time. Now we're actually going to do a bit of grinding, believe it or not. Something you'd never expect. Believe it or not, this is actually in the route. Because it allows us to get something we're after. If the game would spawn them, that being pumpkin bombs. We'll do this one more time, and then we'll be on our way. Now we're on our way. That enemy is supposed to drop a pepper. It did not. Jackie is supposed to grab on, but he did not. Yeah, this is one of the weirdest ledges in the whole game. One of the weirdest ledge sets, I should say. But it is perfectly a-okay. I'm just going to not bother fighting that enemy, considering it wanted to give me some trouble. We need at least 75 pumpkin bombs for the final boss. So we have a bit of hunting to do. But we will wait till another area to get those bombs, because it makes the final boss fight a lot easier if you have approximately 75 bombs. From my testing, that makes the final boss very easy when it wants to cooperate. Let me put it that way. But we will need to get another pepper, because we will need at least 2 peppers. Thankfully, in this area, there are enemies that drop peppers. Such as that one. And I will grab one more. And one more for the journey. Now, thankfully, once we get up here, we won't need the snake anymore. We'll take a bit of damage, but we will be okay. Never mind, I was thinking of a different room. It's this room that we take damage on, by jumping off the snake a little bit early, but it allows us to progress much faster than normal. I don't know why the hitbox of that is so wonky, but it is. I've never gotten stuck there before, I'm gonna be honest. Now you might think you're stuck down there. No, you're not stuck. I am healing strategically. And now to take on Ballbug. Or the Caterpillar boss. Whatever floats your boat. And we're gonna hope for good RNG, because this boss can do a lot of damage. As you can see, we're already down. Come on, Ballbug, be kind. Yes, it's kind. Come on. There we go. Ballbug has been defeated. I am gonna go heal, though. Because we do need to heal. Trust me, it'll make sense why we're healing in a second. We do not have a good set of HP on our hands. Yes, this is backtracking, but it's necessary. Yes, we're a little short on bombs, but I think we'll be okay. In retrospect, going back to heal is probably just going to... It's not really going to save us time, but it's not going to lose us time either. Because... it balances out our HP when we get to where we're going. So it's fine. Into the cage, and up we go. This is not a cutscene. We cannot skip this. There we go. The perfect bomb hit. Because ultimately, I would have had to grind here for HP. Which might have been a bit faster, but I think in the end, it pretty much evens itself out. I do need to actually get these pumpkins. I cannot leave them anymore. Another pepper. I will say, one thing we need to figure out is a way to get those buckets gone faster. I think there's a way that we can get rid of those buckets even faster than currently. Whoops, do not want to be down there. HP is a bit low. But we are fine, because we're pretty much in the last deadly room. I hate that I took damage there. There we go. There we go. Our electric chair to heal us. And on to the final boss we go. Where we're gonna have to avoid this giant crusher. Where we're gonna toy with it and actually make it attack where we once were. As you can see, though, you do not want to be in it because it deals a full bar of damage. I think we got attacked by 2 of those light explosive bugs. Which is a bit strange, because I thought the one... For a second, I thought it was... not... For a second, I thought the timer for when it explode wasn't activating because we were taking damage. But you managed to see the elusive pause screen. Ooh, I bonked. Well, I should not be bonking here. This is quite sad that I'm bonking. I bonked twice. Which is very strange. I bonked again. I'm getting a lot of bonks for some reason. With Frog Gun in tow, let's take down the Oogie Boogie Man. Alright, Oogie, let's a boogie. I want to get in front of him. Strategic placement. We only have 49 bombs, which is actually very concerning. But I think we'll be okay. He's boogieing. Like his name suggests. the saws, which we want to count. That's one rotation. Just one rotation. Okay, that's good. We're on track. He likes to be boogieing. Come on, Oogie, throw the die. Throw the die, Oogie. Thank you. This will actually rotate 4 times, if I remember correctly. 1, a 2, or at least 3. A 3. Yeah, 3. Alright, Oogie's close to being defeated. He's almost there. One more hit, and he is done. Come on, Oogie. Oogie? Oogie, please. There we go. 2 more hits. Never mind. Oogie has been defeated. Now it's time for phase 2, which could make or break this run. It scares me. But let's go. Let's see how kind Oogie is gonna boogie today. No! Oogie is being horrible today. Okay, I'm very concerned for this run. Alright, Oogie. Oogie? Oogie, land. Land, please, Oogie. Yep. There's all our bombs. We have to switch to Batarang time. Okay, he's on the final wave, which is good. Oh, baby, 134. That's what I'm talking about. Sub 135. has been accomplished, and I managed to take him down without my required amount of bombs. Oh, that is a relief. I was terrified of this Oogie fight. I was terrified when he did the lock phase right off the bat after, like, the run phase. But he was kind. Oogie was generous. And he gave me what I wanted, which is to beat the game under 1 hour and 35 minutes, and we did it under 1:34 exactly.